Hey everyone, welcome to r/Tales from Tech Support, where we get to have a little chuckle at the technologically disadvantaged, like me. I'm Uncle Reddit, and have I got a story for you. The definition of insanity. I actually have a tech repair shop role, so I no longer am tech adjacent like I have been in my previous posts. Insert level up graphic and sound effect here. So the place I now work at repairs mostly phones, but we also do a bit of everything. Enter the customer who is the literal definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. I call him Picnic, or PN for short. In this case, replace the traditional chair with customer and computer with cell. So PN comes in on a busy morning about 2 weeks ago when I'm working on checking people in. Anyway, he explains he's getting pop-ups and adware on his phone, which in my opinion takes skill. It's not a particularly useful or helpful skill, but it is a talent and mildly impressive. I am new. I will officially have worked here for a month on this upcoming Monday, so I forget to get the unlock passcode, and this particular type of phone doesn't prompt me for that in the check-in process. Anyway, I tell him it'll be a couple hours, and we'll call back when we have news or a quote. 2 things to know about Nick. 1, he likes to talk. Because I'm female, I believe he was more polite, and because it was at the beginning of this saga, he actually lets me get in the words I need to understand what the problem is and check him in. 2, he's an older gentleman who very much gives off the I don't like change vibe. At this point, none of us know what a saga this will be. Unfortunately, it turns out we need to factory reset his phone, but if we get his passcode, we may be able to help transfer his data first. PN refuses to give us the passcode and comes to pick it up, so we can't do anything. Usually after some patient explaining, most folks understand and either leave to go get a new phone, take it to get the data and bring it back to reset, or just leave empty-handed. Not this guy. Over the next day or so, PN calls. The company that makes his phone, his carrier, I think the store that rhymes with West Guy or something like that, I was off for those 2 days, and basically shouts and is belligerent, unfriendly, pushy, delight to all 3. The big box store actually resets and then restores the phone, but whatever caused the adware to appear in the first place is reinstalled, so same issue. Nick calls again the next day I'm in, and my boss very patiently explains that the phone needs to be factory reset and cannot have all the apps restored for the above mentioned reason. Rinse and repeat the above for the next week and a half, with varying reiterations of, you need to factory reset it, different coworkers either saying they will stay late or come in on their days off to help him reset it, and others listening to at least half an hour of tirades about the issues and what to do. I think a couple of the calls were like 2 hours of this guy rambling. Basically, we're pretty much done with Nick because he won't do what we told him to do, and we're done with him at all 3 area locations. But wonder of all wonders, he actually brought it in Thursday evening to one of the other locations to get it factory reset. Normally this is where the story would end. Said other location even blacklisted him after they reset it. But oh no, between the saga of phone calls in which he continues to ask what to do, gets the same answer and not do it. He had changed carriers, which now results in his phone no longer connecting to the network. It sometimes happens that way and there is legit nothing anyone can do, particularly with the carrier he switched to. I'm too new to know why this particular carrier is special, but it's something I've been warned about. So cue this gem of a conversation I overheard today while I was in the back repairing a screen under the watchful eye of the aforementioned boss. Still learning, so he answers questions and gives me help and tips as I work on said phone. Boss: thank you for calling store name. What can I help you with today? PN: hi, I'm calling because my phone no longer wants to connect to the network, and your other location must be very busy because I can't get a hold of anyone there. Blacklisting means he can still call and leave messages, but it doesn't ring in this case. Boss: ah, yes, I think I recognize your voice. Unfortunately, if the factory reset doesn't fix that issue, like you did yesterday, then there's nothing we can do. PN: but I like this phone. It's been a good phone up until the ads started popping up. It works well for me and they went away last night, but now it won't connect to the network. Can't you fix it? Boss places on speaker so he can help me with something as he chats to Nick. I understand, but as I said before, there's nothing we can do. You need to get a new phone through your new carrier. And rinse and repeat for about 5 to 10 minutes in which Nick basically says the exact same thing in different phrasing. Meanwhile, all of us are attempting not to laugh because, ye gods, he keeps going on, and we have been dealing with him for 2 weeks now. Eventually the boss gets done and falls completely silent, and eventually the guy says okay bye and hangs up. PM would have continued forever if he hadn't done that. Cue everyone laughing at his ridiculous mannerisms and phrasing, said boss's clever way of hanging up and dropping the call. And we still aren't done for. My boss's manager's manager of the 3 local stores, including our own, calls shortly after and instructs my boss to blacklist him at this store, also to let my boss vent. PN actually makes an appointment for later on. We obviously decline it. Those messages he kept leaving at the first store that blacklisted Nick, they are, for all we know, in Morse code. I think we got busy and had to stop trying to translate before we could plug it into something to figure out what the knocks meant. I'll edit if they mean anything. So yeah, this is where the saga ends for now. I'll edit if it develops further, but I think he's blacklisted in all 3 locations, so he would have to come in physically to continue to complain or ramble our ears off. Yeah, I know a few people like that. They just go on and on and on, and you give them the answer, the right answer. But since it's not the answer they want to hear, they just go round in circles and start all over again, and maybe tweak the way they phrase things or rearrange, maybe say the last thing first thing last, something like that. All the while, looking at you like you're stupid. Gotta love it. You remind me of my son. He passed away last year. This happened yesterday. Just want to showcase that sometimes we can really impact people in a positive way, and it isn't all restarts and plugins. I was working with a lady troubleshooting Citrix Desktop on a personal computer while at home. I was a little hamstringed going into things because our workplace tends to use company computers that I can always remote into, ping, troubleshoot much more accurately. But we also dig the whole work from anywhere with any device model. That said, I did my best and we eventually got her squared away. Toward the end of our conversation, she mentioned that I sounded like her son and asked for my age. I told her that I'm 24 and she paused for a moment, apologized, and said that he was 25 and passed away last year due to aggressive leukemia. Oof. He was her personal at-home IT guy. Moreover, he was her son. She felt like for one last time he was helping her figure things out and talking her through the steps. Afterward, I cried and texted my mom that I love her. Hold your loved ones close. Life is fast and brutal. And next time you auto-in, just remember you may just make someone's day. Well, I definitely wasn't expecting that in this story. Yeah, what do you say? It feels good to make somebody's day, make them feel a little better, maybe bring back some memories. I mean, they hurt a little, but ultimately I think that brought back good memories for her, so good on you, OP. Attempt at ticket stat padding leads to egg on face. This story's from several years ago, back in my IT help desk days. I was reminded of this by an unrelated thread in another subreddit and thought I would share it here. I used to work in an IT help desk job with someone who was a bit of a bully. He'd do petty stuff like take my keyboard and either replace it with his dirty one, keyboards he used over time always became disgusting, or he'd just leave me with no keyboard. This guy was also the lowest performing member of our office by far. Everything we did for users was documented in our ticketing system. Our boss, who was awesome, said it was important to document our usefulness. So when you looked up our stats, it was obvious who was performing and who wasn't. In our ticketing system, we had a bunch of old tickets that had been self-resolved by users that were still flagged as open, but we all knew they were no longer in need of attention. Whenever we, the help desk workers, would resolve an issue, we'd close the ticket as resolved, after having first assigned it to ourselves. If a user ended up not needing help anymore, we could just cancel the ticket without assigning it first. I'm not sure why the tickets in question in this story were never canceled out, but our boss asked us to go through them and cancel them as they no longer required our attention. We all knew that we were to cancel them, not assign them to ourselves and mark them as resolved. We all knew the difference between the two. This guy decided to assign dozens of these tickets to himself in one day, assign them to himself, and mark them as resolved. I saw this happening from within our ticketing system. He later made a comment about how his resolved tickets for the week were above the office average, as if he had been helping a ton of users. Sun Tzu wrote, "When an adversary is making a mistake, you should be careful not to interrupt them." I gotta remember that. The bully apparently didn't know something that I did know. Each resolved ticket has a 1/3 chance of sending the user a survey. So dozens of users were sent surveys asking them about the job this guy did helping them with an issue he never actually helped them with. Our boss then received dozens of emails from confused users. This all played out just as I knew it would the moment he started BSing all those tickets. This is how the office bully got egg on his face. I've definitely got to remember that one. When an adversary is making a mistake, you should be careful not to interrupt them. It's sort of an ancient way of saying, give them enough rope to hang themselves. And it looks like that guy did just that. When the user is smart enough to configure a firewall, but not smart enough to know how it works. The company I do desktop support for has 2 VPN connections. One is for a work supply device, which gives them full functionality, and the other is a split system tunnel connection on their own personal device that allows them to RDP to a device on the LAN. Recently, due to COVID and the influx of people working from home, we have started doing support for personal devices and connecting them to the VPN and RDP. 99% of them have been due to their firewall blocking the RDP port. I get that most people have no idea and need help allowing it through. I had one caller who was a nice lady and put me on to her partner as he is my computer literate. Me. Hi, what issue are you having? Him. We're able to connect to the VPN, but cannot RDP or connect to the PC at our office. I checked and the work device is online, pingable, etc. Me. No problem, I can connect in with the log me in to see your device and see what's happening. Him. Nope, that won't work. My router will block it. Me. Are you sure? I can at least try and see if it works. Him. No, it won't work. I've set up and configured my VIP reception firewall so I know what is allowed in and out. My firewall will block it. Thinking to myself, LogMeIn uses port 443, so I'm very sure he hasn't blocked that. Me. Okay, so in my experience, it's most often a firewall issue. Can you disable your firewall for just a minute and test it? Him. No, I'm not doing that. It's not a firewall issue. I can connect to other devices fine. Me. Other devices? You're able to connect with the remote desktop app? Him. No, TeamViewer. I can use TeamViewer fine, so it can't be a firewall problem. Okay, well TeamViewer uses a different port than remote desktop, so it's possible that it's just blocked. All you have to do is disable it for a minute and tell me if it connects. This went on for a few minutes, and before I gave up. Me. If you don't want to do any testing, I'm afraid I can't help you any further. We provide limited support for your own devices. Him. Okay, fine, I've just turned it off and I'll show you that it still doesn't work. A few seconds pass. Him. Okay, that is weird. It connects now. What have you done? Me. Nothing from my end, it was just your network blocking the connection. I gave him the default RDP number port and he added the rule in his firewall. No issues once he turned it back on. Him. Great, thanks for your help. There's been enough times in my life when I could have swore that I was right about something. Even if I still feel that way, if there's somebody giving me advice who is a professional at what they do, and it's their job to do tech support, for this example, even if I totally disagree with them, I wouldn't have waited so long to go ahead and try what they said just to either prove me right or prove them right. One of two things is going to happen. Either it's going to prove me right and then we go look somewhere else for the problem, or it's going to prove him right and the problem's fixed. Kind of seems like a no-brainer to me. I'm not really a computer person though. That's your job. I paused for a second, thinking they misunderstood. Me. Click on the power button and select Restart. Client. Whoa, I don't use a computer a lot. Where's the button? Me. It should be in the farthest bottom right, a circle with a line through the top. Client. I'm seeing a lot of buttons, but no circles. Alright, we'll do it the unpleasant way. Me. We're gonna force reboot. Hold the power down for 10 seconds. Client. Where's the power? Me. On the box attached to it probably says computer manufacturer. Client. I don't use computers. Me. Okay, well I need you to find this box. It should be right there with the computer. Client. I told you I'm not really a computer person. Me, well, I can't help unless we can find that box. Client, I'm not really a computer person though, that's your job. Eventually we gave up and they called their manager to come back in, after leaving for the day, to help them find a power button. I have really no words. I mean, you could take somebody from 100 years ago, sit them down in front of a computer, they have no idea what they're looking at. But if you describe shapes, colors, sizes, and things like that to them, I'm pretty sure that they could figure it out, at least enough to know what you're talking about. Hey guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. If you've enjoyed this content, would you do me a favor? Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and maybe click that little bell icon so you don't miss the fat guy with the beard telling you stories. And if you get a chance, leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the new lighting in here. I kind of like it. I don't feel like I'm too blown out with the lighting and stuff like that. I turned the overhead lights off because fluorescent sucks. And lit up my logo for my other business back there just because I like it. It looks cool. See ya.